Becht has not been a factor in the passing game in recent weeks after a pretty good start. Tom Tupa has been struggling. A high punt. Peter Warwick is back. Inside the 10, he makes a move. Warwick down the sideline and struts out of bounds just shy of the 20-yard line. 48-yard punt for Tupa. He needed it. 12-yard return. And Akili Smith came into this league with such promise. Number 3 pick from Oregon in 1999. In the first round, the question marks: who would go 1? Tim Couch, McNabb, Akili Smith. And Cincinnati still has to figure out whether or not he's the quarterback of the future.
And after struggling last year, he really did have a good preseason training camp and was injured in the Bengals' third preseason game, was really knocked out of the quarterback competition, started the regular season third on the depth chart at the quarterback position.
His 16th career start. He is 3-12 as a starter for Cincinnati. A 3-receiver look to open up. And Smith on a short drop and a quick throw to Darnay Scott. Scott turns it upfield. And he is out of bounds at the 33-yard line. That's a 14-yard pickup and a first down for Cincinnati. Marcus Coleman missed a tackle. Up front for Cincinnati, Richmond Webb, Matt O'Dwyer, the former Jet, Rich Braham, Mike Goff, and Willie Anderson. Some question marks over Anderson, but he's in there with an ankle that's not 100%. Corey Dillon looking to go over 1,000 yards for the 5th straight year to open up his career on the ground. And Bob Rutkowski, the offensive coordinator for this Cincinnati offense, ranked 27th. Dillon gets the call straight ahead. And Corey Dillon will pick up 3.5, 4 yards on that first down run. Farrier and Jones combining to make that stop. Take a look at the New York defense. John Abraham comes in leading the team with 11 sacks, joined by Ellis, Burton, and Martin. Linebackers, all 3 of these guys have had an excellent season. Lewis, Marvin Jones, and James Farrier. And in the secondary, Aaron Glenn continues to miss action. Glenn is nursing that knee injury, so Ray Mickens, who is the nickelback, starts at corner. Again, it's Dillon. It's a 5-yard gain on a 2nd and 6. It'll be 3rd and short upcoming. Mo Lewis the stop.
And again, they've been able to get Corey Dillon for the 2nd straight play on into the 2nd level of this Jets defense. And this Jets defense is going to be challenged by Dillon. He's hungry. Hasn't rushed for over 100 yards in his last 5 games. Knowing that he can crack 1,000 yards in this game today, he's highly motivated, we might say.
He was held to 62 yards in that 14-10 loss to Jacksonville last week. Bengals interaction at 1-4 on the road. 3rd and short on a dive, and Dillon's got it. Needed 1, he got 3. And this drive will continue for Cincinnati. Marvin Jones will be given credit for the tackle.
And this is what the Bengals need to do. They need to get Corey Dillon going in the running game to help the young quarterback, Akili Smith. They want to throw on first down situations, but they really want to keep him in 3rd and short so that he doesn't have to read the defense. The defense can't get too complicated because that's where he struggled in the past.
3-receiver look. Fake the handoff. Smith on a rollout. Able to dump it off for Corey Dillon, and he turns it into 10.5 yards. A flag down in our first penalty marker of the day.
And that's exactly what the Bengals want to do. Throw on first down. It's going to be holding against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Illegal block from behind. 84 of the offense. 10 yards. Repeat first down.
T.J. Hushmanzada for Cincinnati called on the penalty. Jerry Austin, the veteran referee, with us here today.
But again, once again, they come out with the rollout, a play that Akili Smith is so much more comfortable with instead of standing in the pocket. But they'll just do a bootleg to the right. They slip Corey Dillon out in the flat, and he catches the ball. You'll see Hushmanzada right there hitting Victor Green in the back. That's an illegal block.
So back it up to a 1st and 12 for Cincinnati after the long run from Dillon comes back from holding. On the dump off from Smith. Spread formation. Smith looking to run it, and Smith is tracked down after a short gainer. Sean Ellis was able to read the play, and a 2-yard gain. What about that versatility? Akili Smith comes into this league, and everybody's under the assumption that he's got that potential, running the football, drop back, tuck it, and run.
Well, he has some of the same skills that we've seen from Cordell Stewart, Donovan McNabb, and Steve McNair. And his own teammates, Keo Spikes, told him, he says, hey, you need to do what got you here into the National Football League. We saw it there, his ability to not only throw the ball, but make plays with his legs. He says that's what he's going to bring to this football game here today.
On a 2nd and 10, shotgun for Smith again. Pump fake and a run. Across midfield and into Jet territory down to the 49-yard line. Lunging tackle made by Farrier. And a 6-yard scamper for Smith. Offensive linemen have told Smith this week, you've got 2.8 seconds to get rid of that football. If you don't see something, then do something with the ball with your legs.
And then on the last couple of plays, he may have taken off a little too quick. He took off at about a minute, 1.5 seconds, I should say. So he can stand to stay in the pocket a little bit longer here and not take off running so soon.
Here's a 3rd and 4. Jets defense trying to stop Cincinnati just across midfield. Henderson is checked in with the nickel, and Cincinnati will take a timeout. Stop the clock. 10:05 to go. Opening quarter, no score. Keely Smith told us that this year's offense, he's been able to recognize coverages a lot easier than last year's offense, and also maturity has something to do with that as well.
Well, his work habits have improved. He's begun to study film more than any other player on the team, and he's changed some of his habits off the field, and we'll talk to you about that as the game progresses.
Dillon and Bennett in the backfield with the play clock winding down. After the timeout, it's a 3rd and 4. Smith in the pocket. Smith on a rollout, makes the connection for a 1st down. Chad Johnson. And this drive continues after the 9-yard pass and catch. A lot of changes for the quarterback position with the Cincinnati Bengals over the years, and we'll stick with the Ocean's 11 theme. I'll give you the Bengals 11. No Dean Martin here, but you see the various names swirling about.
Yeah, they've had 11 straight non-winning seasons, and that coincides with 11 different starting quarterbacks over those 11 seasons, so you can see the consistency there with our very wonderful graphic.
John Kitna has been the starter throughout the year until today because of an injured middle finger. Corey Dillon on a 1st and 10 from the 40 picks up 6 yards. So Cincinnati is mixing it up. Mike Goff with a good block up front.
And if we could go back to the 3rd down play where Achilles Smith found Chad Johnson, the young receiver, made an adjustment, and really Achilles Smith was able to buy more time by moving to his right and finding the wide open receiver to keep the chains moving.
And keep in mind, 3rd down was a huge problem for this Jets defense last week. Pittsburgh 11 of 18 on 3rd down conversion, something Herman Edwards focused on in our meeting with him earlier this week. A little bit of chicanery. Peter Warrick. The acceleration of Warrick, and that could have been a huge loss on the play. Instead, he turns it into a 2-yard gain. James Reed able to catch him down low. John Abraham applied some pressure, though, in the backfield.
Yeah, he really should have been stopped in the backfield. Watch 94. Abraham comes underneath the fullback. He keeps his outside presence and turns Peter Warrick back inside. It's only the shiftiness of Peter Warrick that gets it back to the line of scrimmage. Well, watch Abraham. His quickness as a defensive end, well, you can't talk about it enough because he's a great athlete getting under the fullback, Lorenzo Neal, on that play to contain Peter Warrick.
Long drive for Cincinnati. This is the 11th play and another crucial 3rd down, a 3rd and 2. Off the fake. Smith will keep it. Smith looking for the marker. Couldn't get there. John Abraham engulfed it, and it looks to be a half-yard short of the 30. Keely Smith initially looked like he had the angle and then cut it back near side.
He also had the ability to throw the ball. I thought that time Corey Dillon came out in the flat. Right here on the right side, he's got to find his guy. He's not able to do that. He has to do a better job, I think, keeping his vision up the field where he can find wide open receivers. But you know what? He's trying to settle in. Pick up the 1st down right now for this football team.
John Abraham did a terrific job of staying at home, and now a 4th and 1. Cincinnati will go for it. 7:25 to go in the 1st. Smith on a handoff. Dillon, he's got it. A surge across the 30-yard line, and they'll move the chains as Nick Ferguson took a shot from Dillon. A 4-yard pickup for Corey Dillon.
And you have to watch this block by the fullback, Lorenzo Neal, on number 51, James Garland. Look at that block. That's what allows Corey Dillon to get to the 2nd level, and he's going to drag whoever's trying to tackle him for an extra yard or 2. But really good blocking up front. They feel like they can come in and move the ball on the ground against this Jets defense.
Lorenzo Neal, a former Jet. He started 10 games for New York at fullback back in 1997. Give for Dillon. Running off tackle, not much there as Rick Lyle and Steve Martin combined to limit Dillon to a 3-yard gain. Early in the season, teams were running on this Jets defense, and the run defense has gotten better in recent weeks, but right now Corey Dillon has been effective on Cincinnati's opening drive.
You know, so much of the talk has been about how the Jets offense has struggled. Well, the Cincinnati Bengals, their offense has struggled coming in also. They have not rushed for 100 yards in their last 5 games, so it has to be encouraging for them to see that they've been able to run the ball here in the early going.
Call it 2nd and a short 7. Dillon again. Off misdirection. Initially, it looked like the play was going to wave to the right. He took it up the middle for 2. Shane Burton, first man there. Well, Cincinnati, 3 touchdowns in their last 19 quarters offensively, and you see where the NFL rankings have been for this Bengals unit.
For their last in total points, only 163 points. And last year, at the end of 16 games, they were dead last in total points, and so they really wanted to improve this offense, and they haven't been able to do so over the long haul, and they have to continue to try to get better at the quarterback position because that's where it's going to start. 15th play of the drive. Smith checking off. High snap. Smith, tuck it and run again. Smith diving forward. He's got a first down. On a 3rd and 5, Achilles Smith. Herman Edwards told us we're going to prepare for Smith and Kitna. If it is Smith, we'll treat it like it's Cordell Stewart. Yeah, Herman Edwards made that comparison, and this is what Achilles Smith said he wanted to do. He wanted to come out and be decisive. He said, if nothing's there, I'm going to tuck it and run it. That's exactly what he did right there. Already 4 carries in the game for 15 yards.
Under 5 minutes to go now in the first, and a long drive for this Cincinnati offense to open up. Brandon Bennett in the game, and he gets the call. Bennett with a spin move, and he picks up 3 yards. Mo Lewis in on that stop. Now Corey Dillon will come back onto the field after the short breather, and Bennett got the carry for 3.
Now the Bengals are in the red zone. They rank 20th in the National Football League at scoring touchdowns once they get inside the red zone. Where they've had problems is they've had turnovers, and they've had a number of missed field goals. Neil Rackers has struggled, missing 9 field goals already this season, so they really have to convert, put some points on the board when they get this kind of opportunity.
Now a 2nd and 7. Come up on 4 minutes to play in the first. Dillon found a lane straight up the gut, and Corey Dillon carving out 6 yards. Rich Graham, the center, creating some extra space.
The Bengals are turning this into their type of football game. They're getting physical at the point of attack, able to run the ball with Corey Dillon, and they're also playing keep away from the Jets offense, which only had 46 snaps last week against Pittsburgh. So it goes a long way into helping their cause and really slowing down the Jets offense that needs the ball, of course, to put points on the board.
You asked Corey Dillon how many carries would he like.
He said 30 to 35, but it's never really enough.
He might get it.
That's right.
Dillon already has 8 on the opening drive. This is a 3rd and 1. Smith rolling. Catch is made inside the 5 by Kurt McMullen. Tight end has been such a problem area for this Cincinnati team. It's a first down for the Bengals. Nick Ferguson with a tackle.
And watch the read of Achilles Smith. He's reading only one side of the field, and this is a single high read. McMullen comes open. He gets rid of the ball right away. He read it accurately, and he was able to make the pass on time to get it to McMullen, where he can catch the ball and turn and try to pick up additional yards.
And his first career catch, first-year tight end out of Pittsburgh. Tony McGee out of action with an injury. Marco Battaglia released earlier this week, picked up by Washington. He was banged up. 1st and goal inside the 5 for Cincinnati. Handoff. Dillon met just before he got to the goal line, and he didn't make it. Damian Robinson.
Yeah, he comes up and makes the hit, and it's an excellent tackle in the hole, because whenever you can take down Corey Dillon one-on-one in the hole, believe me, that's a good play by Robinson.
Well, it's been few and far between for Achilles Smith throwing the football. November 26th, that's the last touchdown. Peter Warren caught it in the corner.
That was some time ago, and this is a quarterback that really, his future is on the line in terms of where is he going to go in terms of being the future quarterback of this football team.
John Jackson has checked in. A tackle is eligible. Play clock winding down on a 2nd and goal. Handoff. Dillon, second effort. The dive. He's in. Touchdown, Cincinnati. And Marvin Jones was trying to bring him back.
And the Jets got the penetration they were looking for. Marcus Coleman, Marvin Jones, many of the Jets defenders come pouring through on that left side. They make the hit, but give credit to the athletic ability and the effort of Corey Dillon. Second effort gets him across the stripe and into the end zone.
A 20-play, 81-yard drive for Cincinnati, and it took up 12 minutes. This is a team that only had 200 yards of total offense last week.
Yeah, they really struggled. 16 runs on that drive, only 4 passes, so that's what they need in order to help this young quarterback.
Extra point from Neil Rackers, and the Bengals have taken a 7-0 lead. Cincinnati trying to snap a 5-game losing streak.
Of the NFL, an official airline of Super Bowl 36. Cadillac, the fusion of design and technology. And by the Travel Industry Association of America.
Cincinnati on the board first. Corey Dillon with his 7th rushing touchdown of the season. Neil Rackers on a kickoff. It'll take a bounce. And Craig Yeast covers it up. Went right through the legs of Lamont Jordan. The Jets find themselves in an early hole. 7-0 Bengals. After the Jets lost last week in Pittsburgh, Victor Green came out and said, "We're making the playoffs." Well, Takeo Spikes caught wind of that. Said, "Hey, not on our watch." Cincinnati comes in here a bit fired up.
Victor Green just trying to provide the leadership and confidence this team needs right now.
Curtis Martin just got 11 in the backfield. Renard Wilson coming off end to make that stop on Martin.
The Jets' biggest concern was for that of the Cincinnati Bengals front defensive 7. They used the quickness of Renard Wilson, who comes in unblocked to get the tackle on Martin in the backfield. And they do have the quickness on the outside edges with Renard Wilson and Justin Smith, and they very stout at the defensive tackle positions. Renard Wilson, a former first-round pick for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Coming up on 1 minute to go now, first quarter on a 2nd and 13. Kevin Swain is in as the 3rd receiver. Take the handoff. Testaverde steps up, throws it. Sideline route. Incomplete. Coles could not catch it. Kevin Casevahorn in as the nickel, making that play on the far side.
And the Bengals had good pass rush by Justin Smith and Casevahorn. Good coverage on Lavernius Coles. And watch the pressure coming from the backside, forcing Vinny Testaverde to step up in the pocket. Casevahorn closes well on the comeback route by Lavernius Coles. And look, he drops his hip, he gets his head back and gets vision on the ball. And that's why he can drive back and make a play and get his hand in there to knock the ball out.
3rd and long for New York. Rollout. Testaverde with a moving pocket. Throwing right at the marker. And the catch made by Kevin Swain. Will they spot the football past the marker? And they will. A first down for New York on a 3rd and 13. New York converts.
And that time the Bengals defense got caught stunting and coming with the blitz. Number 27, you'll see Martrell Hawkins coming right here. He gets picked off and Vinny's rolling out, gets outside, and he's able to buy room, find time to find his receiver on the sideline. It was their ability to move the pocket that really allowed them to get away from the blitzing Martrell Hawkins.
First down for this New York offense after Cincinnati racked up 7 of them on their opening drive. Winding down here in the first. Testaverde loses the football and forced to cover up. Back at the 21 line of scrimmage was the 30. They'll lose 8.5.
They lose the snap. Vinny does a good job of getting down on this ball. The ball was down on the ground for a few seconds there. Justin Smith comes in to close in on Vinny Testaverde, who recovers the fumble. It's a huge play because they give the ball to the Bengals right there, and they can fall into a deeper hole.
Down to 4 seconds left here in the first. And Jets aren't going to get a playoff. Early boos from this New York crowd, a skeptical crowd that knows all about the December numbers. End of 1. Bengals. Number of Shrek heads in attendance here today. They have not liked what they've seen so far, though. Cincinnati with a 7-0 lead over New York. Ian Eagle, Solomon Wilcox, the rest of our CBS crew with you as we start play in the second quarter. On the handoff, Curtis Martin. And not much there. A 2-yard gain off that left side. Takeo Spikes in on the tackle for Cincinnati.
Takeo Spikes makes an excellent tackle in the open field on Curtis Martin, who normally would make you miss in that situation, but the athletic ability of Takeo Spikes his toughness. He leads this team in tackles and have done so in his 3 years with the football team. What a wonderful leader for the Cincinnati Bengals. One of the reasons why this defense has really improved.
Spikes got in the middle of a controversy this week without even opening his mouth, with Jerome Bettis and Ray Lewis going back and forth.
There he found his way into that argument. He said, you know what, I'm just doing what I do. I play football. I don't know how I made it into that argument.
Deep drop for Testaverde on a 3rd and 16. Throw it. Wayne Corbett. He's been Mr. Third Down for this New York team. Not necessarily this year, though. And a 20-yard gain up the middle. Mark Roman with a tackle and a 1st down for the Jets.
Good things happen when the Jets are able to get the ball to Wayne Corbett, who's working against number 20, Mark Roman. Gets inside and on top of him. And then he's able to step up in the pocket and find Corbett, who makes the reception. Corbett, of course, down this year in his number of receptions, but as the season goes on, he's the guy they need to look more to make plays in this offense.
He is on pace for a career-low 48 receptions this season. Dealt with some injuries early on. 1st down, some trickery. On the run by Lavernius Coles. Breaks it into Cincinnati territory. And knocked down just shy of the 35 by Artrell Hawkins.
The play was well designed, and they caught the Bengals in man coverage, so many of the defensive backs had their backs turned to the reverse. You can see everyone's flowing to the left side, and now there's no one over to that left side of the field, and everyone's just trying to rally and get to the football and try to make a tackle. Once they're able to get outside of Vaughn Booker, they're able to pick up an additional yards on the play. Nice play designed by offensive coordinator Paul Hackett.
A 19-yard burst for Coles, and Hackett has come under fire not only this week but in previous weeks as well. He came out and said this week, the onus is on me. Testaverde. Incomplete. Fans wanted a flag. Intended for Richie Anderson. He was driven down by Simmons.
This is the matchup that they're looking for when they go spread in an empty set. They're trying to get Richie Anderson on the linebacker, Brian Simmons. They feel like Richie Anderson is kind of like a wide receiver. If they get him in one-on-one matchup with a linebacker, they feel like he should win. This time, you could see the pass interference. Well, very close, but Simmons right there in his hip pocket, able to make a play on the ball.
2nd and 10 coming up from the 37. Cincinnati leading New York 7-0 early stages 2nd quarter. Inside handoff, Curtis Martin, and Justin Smith met him. A 2-yard gain. All right, now let's get an NFL Today update. We'll head back to the studio. Jim Nance.
All right, Ian. Priest Holmes leads the NFL in rushing and total yards from scrimmage. 12-yard touchdown run here. 10-0 Chiefs over Denver. 1st quarter. Let's go back to you.
And Jim, what a breakout year it's been for Priest Holmes. Curtis Martin comes in number 2 in rushing behind Holmes. Only a 6-yard difference entering action today.
That's right. Priest Holmes is really making a name for himself. And Curtis Martin, of course, he's having one of his best years.
On a 3rd and 8, Testaverde. Take that shot down the field. Incomplete. Target was Kevin Swain in a one-on-one matchup with Mark Rome in the corner.
Yeah, Swain had a step on him. Have to do a better job of timing up the deep route. Head coach Herman Edwards says, it's a mandate on this football team. We have to go deep a minimum of 6 times each ball game. He says, but we haven't been able to connect, especially in the last 2 weeks. He said, but we have to continue to try.
Edwards could have tried a 53-yard field goal, or he could send his punter out on the field, and it will be the latter. Tom Tupa, a 48-yarder on his first attempt. Tupa had a very poor day punting last week. Tupa looking for an angle and able to find the corner. Tom Tupa plopped it inside the 10, directly at the 5. Cincinnati will be pinned back with a 7-0 lead. The ball control that you see for Cincinnati, that was all on one drive in the 1st quarter, and it went down as the longest drive in terms of time and number of plays in team history for the Bengals. So a strong start for this Cincinnati offense. But the line of scrimmage is their own 5-yard line for Achilles Smith, getting his first start of the season at quarterback. John Kitna not 100%, and this play is whistled dead as flags come down. Penalty flag earlier worked against Cincinnati on a hold, and Jerry Austin will fill us in.
Ball start, right guard. Half a distance to the goal. It's still 1st down.
Well, they'll back it up 2.5-yard line now for the Bengals.
And this is where you don't want your young quarterback having to make decisions standing in his own end zone. So you expect them to come out and try to give the ball to Corey Dillon, try to create some room to operate in the passing game.
Dillon, 10 carries, 36 yards so far. He does have the touchdown run. Motion man walk. Smith on a handoff. Dillon driven back. Mo Lewis, first man there, leading the charge for New York. A loss of 1.
And they barely make it out of their end zone running the ball to Corey Dillon. Mo Lewis that time is able to shed the block and get some penetration. They're trying to bounce this play, but he'll come in. Look at this. Just blow it up right there. And there's Mo Lewis coming in to make the tackle. They do a good job of stuffing this run play. And they get to the first level, and then there's Mo Lewis cleaning it up. Nearly a safety on the play.
Goes down as a loss of 2 officially. Line of scrimmage is the 1. Smith airing it out. Home run ball. Down the sideline and incomplete. Darnay Scott in double coverage. He had Marcus Coleman there, along with Damian Robinson.
Kelly Smith may have put a little bit too much air under the ball. Looked like the ball was certainly out in front of Corey Dillon. Just sort of, and Darnay Scott, the ball just hung up. You get that ball a little bit out to the sideline where Darnay Scott had a step on Marcus Coleman.
First incomplete pass for Achilles Smith. He's 4 of 5, 35 yards. Now a 3rd and 14. Fans vocal here in the second quarter. Dillon and Bennett in the backfield. Handoff, Corey Dillon. And Dillon picks up 3 yards. John Abraham brought him down. Cincinnati forced to punt it. And the Jets should have tremendous field position coming up.
Very dangerous play. They ran a draw play, and then it was more of a horizontal run instead of getting vertical up the field. He was in the backfield carrying the ball. Had they got any penetration, that could have been a safety.
Nick Harris, rookie punter from Cal, gets it off. Returnable punt for Craig Yeast, the former Bengal, from the 45. And Yeast gets it inside the 35-yard line. Case Vaughan makes the stop after the 9-yard return. Cincinnati leading the Jets 7-0. Jets have it at the Cincinnati 33-yard line, a 1st and 10, trailing 7-0. Vinny Testaverde with 10:35 to go until halftime. Handed off. Here's Martin. Has a hole. Curtis Martin. Out across the 25. And a 10-yard gain on 1st down. Kerry Jenkins on that left side of the line with a key block.
Very smart play by the Jets coming out, wanting to run the ball with Curtis Martin in this situation. I think they also have to try to exploit the Cincinnati Bengals secondary and try to get the matchups with Rain Corbett and Richie Anderson. Try to really, I think, exploit this Bengals secondary that has given up some big plays in this season. Remember, the strength of this defense is in the front 7.
So much December talk surrounding this New York Jet team. They are 18 and 43 in post-November games since 1986. Testaverde. He may have been fooled himself as to who was getting the football. It's Curtis Martin, brought down by Vaughn Booker. Yeah, Testaverde was one of the few guys that came out and admitted that, yeah, it is a distraction. All the media talk, the fans talking about it as well. Now, the numbers speak for themselves. Curious to get your thought. From year to year, is there a carryover? Can there be a mental block? Because logic would tell you, hey, different players, different coaches, it should change.
Well, with everyone talking about it, and then you start to struggle on top of it, I think it becomes something that really occupies your thinking. And so now they continue to struggle with it even right now.
On a toss for Martin on a 2nd and 13, and Martin's shake and bake move could only gain 3. Takeo spikes with that pursuit to the sideline.
But Herman Edwards, he doesn't want to accept the fact that the month of December is a problem for this football team. He goes back to the basic fundamentals of executing on both offense and defense. He says, if we can do that today, then we'll win the football game. And he really came out and he said that, hey, if we are really a playoff team, then we should beat the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, that's a strong statement, but he believes it. And I think Cincinnati was turned off a bit, including Takeo spikes, as we mentioned earlier, that the Jets were overlooking them. On a 3rd and 10, Testaverde. on a cross. Coles can't hold on to it. Quick slant. And Case-Mahorn had good coverage.
It is just really good coverage by Case-Mahorn because this pass is in there. Good pass by Vinny Testaverde. It's a slant play to Lavernius Coles, who catches the ball. But look at the strip by Case-Mahorn ripping at the arms of Coles. And that's what allows the ball to come out.
Great field position for this Jet team. And yet they have to settle for a field goal attempt of 40 yards. And therein lies the problem, as Edwards talked about. Touchdowns are not coming easy for this Jets offense. 40-yard attempt, trying to get New York on the board. John Hall, he missed it. Hall no good from 40 yards away. The snap and hold just looked ugly from the beginning. And a flag down. It was thrown at the 20-yard line.
This may go against David Laverne. The personal foul call, as there was pushing down in that line between the Bengals and the Jets.
You think back to last year, though, Solomon. Jets needed wins down the stretch. John Hall missed 2 field goals in a crucial loss to Detroit.
Just a bad snap and very
After
difficult.
the play's over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. 70 of Cincinnati. 15 yards, first down.
So it's Glenn Steele on the other side of the ball for Cincinnati. So James Dirth, the snapper, that was a shaky one to Tupper, who did his best to turn it around, and the personal foul assessed after the kick. Steele.
It's going to go against Steele, who was sort of pushing and shoving with David Laverne, and they always catch the second offender, so he gets the penalty.
7-0 Cincinnati holding on to the lead. 8:26 to go. Second quarter.
The foul occurred after the play was over. Therefore, the new line of scrimmage was the 30-yard line, and the penalty went from the 30, not the previous spot. Therefore, it's on the 15, first and 10, Cincinnati.
Explanation from Jerry Austin after the penalty was called on Glenn Steele. Dick LeBeau nodding his head. He got the word from Austin on the sideline during that timeout. So Cincinnati had bad field position on its previous drive, and not quite as bad here, but a first and 10 from the 15 for the Bengals. 8:26 to play until halftime. Dillon in the backfield. Play action. Smith has the time. Guns it over the middle. Incomplete. It was broken up. Peter Warwick, the intended receiver. Damian Robinson came in on coverage.
Yeah, Damian Robinson did an excellent job of reading the play. He's the safety hanging back. He's reading the quarterback. He also sees Peter Warwick coming over the middle of the field. And watch, you'll see 22. He'll come right in there, Damian Robinson, to make a play and break up the pass play intended for Warwick.
You've been surprised that Warwick has become a possession receiver and not that long ball threat?
I really have. We saw him make big plays in college at Florida State, and now he's only used pretty much in the underneath cover.
Corey Dillon leaves his feet on a hurdle. He picks up 2 yards. It'll be 3rd and 8 upcoming. John Abraham with a tackle for New York. For the best NFL coverage on the net, including expert analysis, live scoreboards, go to cbs.sportsline.com or America Online, keyword CBS Sportsline. Warwick and Lavernius Coles were roommates at Florida State. They had their problems with the Dillard's department store. That's been a story that's been covered throughout the years, but Coles is having a better year.
Yeah, both have really contributed to their team. Peter Warwick led the Bengals in receptions last year, and he has 51 receptions at this point in the season now, still leading the team. So they both have contributed to their football team.
Out of the shotgun. Here's Achilles Smith on the move and brought down just as he crossed the 20-yard line. What did Takeo Spikes tell Achilles Smith? He said that it is so deflating for the Cincinnati defense when Steve McNair can make a play like that against them. Smith just tried to make one a la McNair, and he is hobbled afterwards.
Yeah, he's hobbled trying to run and pick up the first down, but Takeo Spikes told him, you have to do what got you here. Use your athletic ability to make some plays, and you can see he's a little hobbled from trying to do so there.
Craig Yeast fumbles the football, and Yeast was able to dive back on it out across the 50. Greg Yeast thought he was going to get bonus yardage as he came forward to catch that short punt. And John Kitna now has to get ready As Achilles Smith was stumbling to the sideline, Yeast was stumbling on this return. 7-0.
On CBS is sponsored by Staples. Staples has everything you need for your business at great low prices. Heineken, it's all about the beer. Heineken. And by Nextel, how business gets done.
Second straight drive that New York opens up in Cincinnati territory, and Curtis Martin right up the middle, and Richie Anderson giving him a block. It's a 9-yard gain. What a tough break for Achilles Smith. He told us yesterday the disappointment of last year is waiting for the opportunity this year, and looks like his day is over.
Watch the left knee of Achilles Smith. It'll be jammed right into the turf, right there. You can see jams it right into the ground, and that ground's pretty hard on a cold day like what we have here today. That's what they're looking at, the left knee of Achilles Smith.
Green and Mickens combined to bring down Achilles Smith, and now John Kitna is getting ready. Inside handoff again, Curtis Martin. He picked up 2 yards. It's enough for a first down. Justin Smith on the lower portion of his body brought him down. And Achilles Smith holding on to that left knee.
Quite disappointing because he had come out and looked pretty good in the early going, managing the offense, and that's what they wanted from him, is to manage the offense, make plays, and don't take any sacks, and that's something that he was doing using the running ability of Corey Dillon.
Keep in mind, his preseason was cut short as well because of an injured shoulder, so he never really got a fair shot at the number 1 job.
Once again, have that opportunity taken away from him here today.
On a 1st and 10 from the 37. New York still scoreless. Handoff. Martin spun down. Shy of the line of scrimmage. Brian Simmons got into the backfield. It's a loss of 1.
Meanwhile, the Cincinnati Bengals defense, they're not taking any steps backwards. Really coming in and buckling down with that front 7, trying to control Curtis Martin in the running game. Brian Simmons, also a productive member of this defense, a very young football player, over 100 tackles as well, coming in as a first-round draft pick, along with Takeo Spikes 3 years ago.
Coming up on the 5-minute mark now, the second quarter. Cincinnati with a 7-0 lead on New York. Corbett in motion on a 2nd and 11. Play action. Dump off, Richie Anderson. Anderson on a catch and run, spilled out across the 30 and a flag down. Richie Anderson, who had 88 catches last year, made the Pro Bowl as a fullback. Only his 30th reception of the season.
68
and it's coming back.
10 yards, repeat 2nd down.
Play is nullified.
Going to go against the center, Kevin Mawai. He's one of the few centers in the National Football League that can pull on draws and screens. That time they get the ball out to Richie Anderson. Mawai gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar, holding on to the defender.
Jets 43 penalties this year. The least penalized team in the NFL. That's a costly one. Jets just trying to find something to get them going offensively. The rhythm has just not been there. Testaverde, 2 of 8 throwing the football.
Yeah, they're trying to get the ball to their weapons. Wayne Corbett, Richie Anderson, Curtis Martin.
Martin, 10 carries, 27 yards. Now a 2nd and 15 from the 42. And a flag comes down as the play clock hits 0.
5 yards. It's still 2nd down.
And the mistakes adding up.
Denny Testaverde taking too long at the line of scrimmage, trying to read the defense of the Cincinnati Bengals, who's moving around, doing a good job of disguising their defenses. Took Denny a little extra time to try to buckle down on his reads that time and ran out of time, and therefore they get called on the penalty.
Second penalty on New York. And back it up another 5. 2nd and 20 now from the 47. Jets headed in the wrong direction. And they're back to the original line of scrimmage. Cincinnati was showing blitz as they crowded the line, and another flag. 3rd straight play, we've seen a penalty marker.
Maybe illegal procedure on the offside line.
71, 5 yards, 2nd down.
Another penalty against New York. Marcus Allen had a chat with Herman Edwards in our pregame show, the NFL Today, and Marcus joins us here on the field right now. Marcus?
Well, the initial report starts a strained hamstring by Achilles Smith. He was carted off the field and taken him in the locker room for initial observation, more observation. We'll find out more, but it doesn't look at this point he's going to return, guys. Back upstairs.
All right, Marcus, thanks very much. And for Achilles Smith, difficult scenario because he was so looking forward to showing not only the Bengals but the rest of the league what he could do.
And he came out and was accomplishing just that.
2nd and 25 on a flip. Here's Martin. Curtis Martin breaking to the open field. And Martin brought down to the 25. Kevin Mawai with a big block for Martin. And it covers 27 yards. First down, New York.
The Bengals defensive coordinator, Mark Jumpner, was really concerned about Curtis Martin. You'll see on this play, he shows all of his abilities, good vision, his ability to cut back, running behind Kevin Mawai there, and he slips outside of the cornerback and able to pick up additional yards. But it's very elusive and a very deceptive runner, has power to go along with very quick feet.
Testaverde has just moved past Dave Craig into 8th place all-time on the NFL passing list. Over 38,000 yards. And a timeout called by New York. 7-0. Cincinnati with the lead. 2:57 to play until half. That timeout was called by Cincinnati. They had too many men on the field defensively, so they had to organize themselves and take their second timeout. Of this first half, only one remaining. Jets still have 3 left. A 4-receiver look on first down. Toss it to Martin. Stutter step, and Martin unable to dance his way forward. He's forced to the sideline by Chris Carter and Kevin Casebaugh. A loss of 1. How important is Curtis Martin to this offense? He does love New York, but you know what? He loved New England as well, at least if you looked at his numbers.
You know, everyone is trying for them to go back to the old spread offense, but look at those numbers. He's averaging more yards per game and more yards per carry. A career high 4.6 yards per carry. I think you have to stick with Curtis Martin. He's the horse that's going to take you across the finish line.
He's also the workhorse for this team, but Lamont Jordan does step in the backfield. Anderson in motion on a 2nd and 11. Jordan, the rookie, is brought down quickly by Brian Simmons. He read the play beautifully.
Yeah, the fans are growing restless here with the Jets offense. They've only scored 2 touchdowns in their last 28 possessions, now make it 29 if they don't get in on this possession. So they're starting to grow a little bit impatient, I'd say.
And we'll hit the 2-minute warning here in the second quarter. Jets will face a 3rd and 10 at the Cincinnati 25. They're being shut out so far. Bengals up 7.
On CBS is sponsored by A Beautiful Mind, starring Academy Award winner Russell Crowe and directed by Ron Howard. And by Best Buy. For the latest technology, turn on the fun at Best Buy.
Seven nothing. Cincinnati leading New York. 2 minutes to play until halftime. And coming up, Nextel halftime report. Jim, Mike, Randy, and Jerry will have the scores and highlights. That's coming up on the Nextel halftime report. This play has come down to 1 drive. Cincinnati's long drive, their first possession of the game. That's all the offense we've seen. John Hall with a 40-yard field goal attempt. That was wide. On a 3rd and 10. Testaverde moving pocket. Vinny plants and throws. Wide open Quebec. First down, New York.
You know, they played the Giants game here in this stadium just yesterday, and they had to re-sod on the outside edges. It's a little slippery out there. Right now, quarterback Artrell Hawkins, he'll slip and fall down. Wayne Quebec catches the ball and steps out of bounds. Had he turned up, he could have gained additional yards on the play.
They had problems with that turf yesterday with the Giants in Arizona. Come from behind victory for New York. Saw some slipping and sliding there. And now the bad turf affecting Artrell Hawkins with 1:55 to go, second quarter. New set of downs for the Jets. Curtis Martin knifing his way for a gain of 3 inside the 10 to Keo Spikes. First man to greet him for Cincinnati.
And Martin does as good job as any back in the league at working his way through traffic, avoiding would-be tacklers, and picking up additional yards. Just a tremendous back.
Jets use their first time out of the first half. Stops the clock with 1:41 to go. Second quarter. On.com, America Online, keyword CBS Sports Line. Second and a short 8 on a flip to the outside. Quebec is brought down quickly by Mark Roman.
And Roman beats the would-be block by Richie Anderson to come in and make the tackle on Wayne Quebec. You'll see he'll read the play. He's looking at the quarterback, and Anderson's got to pick up this block. Roman, he presses the issue and comes straight in to make the tackle. Good heads-up play and good recognition by the cornerback.
And a loss of 2 makes it a 3rd and 10 from the 12. Jets, they put up the yardage numbers, but nothing to show for it on the scoreboard. After that Cincinnati long drive, Bengals haven't done anything offensively. 3rd and 10. 1 minute to play. First half. Handoff. Martin remaining on his feet. But a conservative play call on 3rd down, as they did not take a shot at the end zone.
Very conservative, trying to execute the draw play. Why not bring a fullback in and use your power running game with Curtis Martin? He's done a good job of eluding tacklers, and when they come with the power running game, it's really worked for this Jets offense. I think they have to get back to it and try to press the issue using the power running game.
John Hall missed one from 40 yards away early. 2nd quarter. And now has a chance to connect from 24 yards. Cooper will hold it. Dirk the snapper. And John Hall has put the Jets on the scoreboard. But they settled for a field goal. Bengals 7, Jets 3. 18 seconds left to play until halftime.
18 seconds left, and John Kitna's going to come in at quarterback. I expect the Bengals to try to get out of the half right here and not really try to press the issue in terms of offense. Go in at halftime and prepare John Kitna to play in this game. He suffered a sprained finger, that middle finger on his throwing hand, and so he didn't practice much this week, only getting practice time on Friday, where he didn't really look too impressive in terms of his ability to grip and throw the football.
Couldn't make a fist. Earlier in the week, John Kitna could not make a fist, and it wasn't until Friday that he could actually grip the ball at all. Don't forget, coming up, Nextel halftime report. Jim, Mike, Randy, and Jerry will have the scores and highlights. That's coming up on the Nextel halftime report. 7-3, Cincinnati leading the Jets. And 18 ticks of the clock left in the 2nd quarter. Herman Edwards chatting with his coaches, special teams coach Mike Westhoff, and then Ted Cottrell, the defensive coordinator. Victor Green has said that the play calling on defense has been a lot more aggressive over the last 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, they started off the season running a cover 2 zone and really had a tough time stopping the run. But once they moved Victor Green up into the box, playing a cover 3 behind it, that's when the defense began to improve.
Curtis Keaton is the deep man, and John Hall will put it on the turf. Taken by the up men, Brock Gutierrez, and he carries to the 45 with only 12 seconds left now. And a 7-yard return. And John Kitna, the backup here today for the first time this season. And with the injury to Achilles Smith, left hamstring, Kitna will come onto the field. Log on to NFL.com. Vic Carucci breaks down the Packers' offensive approach and how it's resulted in their position atop the NFC Central. Just go to NFL.com or America Online, keyword NFL.com. But they give Cincinnati outstanding field position. They get a 20-25-yard pass, and they might give Neil Rackers a shot to put one through.
Absolutely. With such good field position, you have to take a shot at moving the ball up the field.
Kitna out of the shotgun. 4 receivers. Kitna darts one incomplete. He was looking for Ron Dugans. 8 seconds now remain, first half.
And that's something that really has frustrated John Kitna and this Bengals offense, is the young receivers not recognizing what to do when they're in the ball game. He said Kitna was looking for Dugans. Well, Dugans wasn't looking for the football because it was coming his way, and he had yet to turn around.
John Kitna, a passing rating of 64.1. That was the lowest among NFL starters entering the week. Offensive coordinators usually look for that 90 range to see whether or not a guy is not only being effective, but is standing out at his position. Kitna on a rollout. Down to 3 seconds left. Lets it fly. Hail Mary. Knocked up in the air. Was it scooped up by Jamie Henderson? It was, so Henderson gets the interception. The first of his career, the rookie out of Georgia. And that's how the first half will end. Cincinnati leading the Jets 7-3 at halftime. Trying to put an end to all of this December swoon talk, and the Jets did very little in the first half to change it.
And Henderson comes over to make a play, getting the interception, but John Kitna took a shot on the throw by John Abraham. He comes in looking to just get out of the half, and he's already taking some hits and has already thrown 1 interception.
Cincinnati Bengals trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. Jets just trying to remain in the playoff picture. Right now, let's go down to Marcus Allen.
Thanks, Andrew. Down there with head coach Herman Edwards. That's 29 drives, coach, and only 2 touchdowns. But what are you guys going to have to do to score 7s, coach?
Well, I don't know. We got to convert. I think at times our first series,
We throw the guy the ball and he drops it twice. We get down here, we throw a screen to Wayne, we throw it real high. We don't make any yards on that either. We go backwards. So I think once we get inside their territory, we have to be positive on our offense without plays.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck second half. Back upstairs, Aaron.
All right, Marcus, Coach, thanks very much. End of the first half, Cincinnati 7, Jets 3. We'll send you to Jim Nance in New York the next